of Iron. I'm John Anderson. Meet my co-hosts, Nick Best and Akeem Williams. We're going to have some amazing guests on the show. Buckle up tight, because we're going to be talking about the shit you're not supposed to be talking about. We're going to be discussing anything and everything it takes to become a Legend of Iron.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by Muscle Mints. Muscle Mints is the creator of Carnivore Pure Beef Protein Icing. Beef builds muscle, and Carnivore is the world's #1 selling beef protein. Welcome to another edition of Legends of Iron. I'm John Anderson. With me, almost my partners in crime, Nick Best and Akeem Williams. We have got an amazing guest for you today. We've had debates on this show about other strength sports, not powerlifting, strongman. Who is the best of all time? Well, in powerlifting, there is no debate, because this man on the show with us right now is hands down, cannot argue, the best powerlifter to ever walk the planet, and he's still alive, and he's here with us today. Yes, I am so excited, because normally you get somebody like yourself and they were dead 50 years ago.
Yeah,
you never got to talk with them. So, Ed Coan, welcome to the show. How are you, brother?
I'm always good, dude. I'm really happy to be with you guys.
Oh, I'll tell you, we've had.
I know. He just called you a living legend.
Yeah.
Oh, you're living legend, to say the least, man.
Living.
Because Eddie, honestly, we've had multiple conversations on the show about who's the best of all time in strongman, and there's nobody. You can't put your finger on one person in that sport. With powerlifting,
it's hard, especially when you had like medley events and static strength stuff.
Yeah.
When it came to the medleys, Marius would be there.
Yeah.
But when it came to the total strength stuff, you have, Big Z, Thor, and Big Brian that are gigantic and strong. So it is really
brother.
hard.
The best thing with you, there's no conversation. There's no debate.
Thanks.
This is very true.
So it's very true. I believe it's what, 70? Is it 71, 72 records?
Something like that. You know what? I never really counted, because like one time I went to a big Hawaii meet, and I had 2 world record squats, 2 world record deadlifts, and every single one of my deadlifts broke the total record. Wow. So that was 7 on the day. So
7 on the day.
After a while, you just try to beat your best. And I really didn't give a fuck about records or trophies. I just was happy to do what I loved.
Yeah. See, Nick, John, that goes back to what I said about the
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming, because we had this, Eddie, just so you know, that little rant between Ak and I. It's about, they just raised the prize money to $300,000 for the open men in Arnold, which Ak's going to be competing in. So we were having this big thing. Is it about the money, or is it about the true competition? So anytime somebody like yourself speaks about, I just want to be better than I was before, Ak runs that straight up my ass about, it's not about the money,
Well, if you are better than you were before, the chances of you making the money are even better too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I think I've seen video of you, and you're strong as shit, if I remember.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've seen a lot of videos of your stuff. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, Eddie, the crazy thing about Ak, and I've been at plenty of expos where we're basically standing there talking to people, and like every hour on the hour, he'd walk around to the other side of the booth to a deadlift bar with 7 plates, and he just bends over and picks it up. No belt. And he's keep in mind, it's not like he's a terrible form, but not a good form. He just does shit.
It's good for him.
Yeah, 8 plates with the squat bar sitting on top of his traps. I mean, it builds that massive set of legs he's got, but it's just crazy. I think to myself, with his raw strength and somebody that like yourself that could teach him how to leverage his body, oh my God, it would have been crazy, the kind of strength.
Yeah, I know I've commented on one of your deadlifts or something before too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Crazy strong. Well, take us back to the beginning.
I mean, holy smokes. I'm so excited. I've never had a chance to – we've always seen each other at expos and shit. To be able to sit here and just rap, man, this is awesome. Take us to the beginning.
Let's see. A south side of Chicago guy in the suburbs. I played every sport growing up, but I was always really short. Not like I'm tall now at 5'6" or something. And then, like every other meathead, I watched Arnold in Pumping Iron.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy shit, I got to try this. So I tried to be Arnold. And then when I was a little kid, I met Arnold at a big, like a Sears store. And I came right up to his titties. And I looked up at him. I was like, shit, I can't be Arnold. So I tried to be Franco.
There you go.
And Franco happened to like strength, and he used to like the deadlift. So I tried to be Franco, and then I saw Kaz on TV when they used to have powerlifting on Wild World of Sports on Sundays. And I was like, wait a second, you don't have to diet and pose, and you can lift a whole bunch of weight and have fun and not worried about a weight class. I'm going to try this. And it was my shit. It just took off, and I loved it, and I was good at it, so I never looked back.
So how old were you here?
16 years old. Was my first bodybuilding contest and only, and my first powerlifting contest. I posed in a contest before they even had music. Yeah.
Wow.
So I took all Franco's poses that he posed in the back of his book at the end, and I did all those.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, brother. So you basically did that. That's you're young, you're a teen. What happened from there? We got 71 records to talk ourselves through here.
Yeah, I went to a bunch of little local meets, and then at 19 years old or 18 years old, I went in the Teenage Nationals and took second because I didn't know what I was doing, so I missed a couple attempts on time. I got timed out, and then I went to the YMCA Nationals, which was a big meet because there wasn't all the federations. It was one federation. And I won that at 165 pounds 165 pounds. I beat a guy who had won the world championships.
Wow.
So that was kind of my entering the realm of being good. And the following year I went into the Men's Open Nationals at 19 years old.
So real quick, Eddie, did you have somebody helping you, or were you just showing up lifting shit?
I would just read the magazine.
Jesus Christ. I love it.
And, at that age, you can overtrain all you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, you can.
My form wasn't good, but I was stubborn as hell. And you loved it, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And I missed weight by 1 pound. And at that time, I even took a whole bunch of shots of Lasix, and the weight still wouldn't come off. I had an old Rich Gaspari shredded ass, and I missed weight, so I had to weigh in because my total at the time was high enough that it qualified me for the 181-pound class. So 2 hours later, I weighed in for the 181-pound class, and I had already gained 11 pounds.
Wow. So back in these times, like what were you eating? What did we, or were you even paying attention? Was it?
I didn't pay attention to anything. The only good thing I did is I had a fillet every night before I went to bed.
Okay.
A fillet of steak. Oh well, shit.
Everything else, it didn't matter because I was young and dumb, and I could do anything and abuse the crap out of myself, and I would still grow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I took
every night had to help
Bridges
though
in that contest, and then everything took off from there. That was 1983, and 1984, I won my first world championships at 181. So my first meet was in 1980, and I won the world championships in '84 already.
Man.
So are you 20 years old yet? Are you still a teen?
Let's see, 19. I was 20 at the Nationals, and I turned 21 by the Worlds.
Holy shit. So 21 years old, never had a coach, just basically reading the magazines and became a world champion.
Yeah, you kind of worked it out.
Yeah, you think?
I'm going to use that. Just kind of work it out, you know?
Look how many people train differently that are really, really fucking good, whether it's strongman, powerlifting, bodybuilding, or any other sport.
Yeah.
Everyone can become a world champion. They all train different. So I just went by feel.
Yeah.
I was really introverted at the time, and I went by feel. I didn't care what people thought. I didn't seek people out. I would be the guy in the corner like that watching people. So I observed a lot, and I just what felt good, and if it felt good, it was good, and I didn't ask anybody else's unfound opinion on how I should be.
Yeah.
And it just worked out. I made mistakes. I had a couple little tears here and from overtraining, but you learn and you get through it.
Wow. Yeah, that's insane, brother. I mean, what you're saying, I love it, because now, like, a modern day lifter listens to this and go, God, that makes so much sense. But today we're so convoluted with so much information and so many ways to do things and so many opinions. You just stripped it down to the most pure form ever.
The basics never go out of style. They're almost identical for everybody.
Yep.
And then it's how you put that together with working on your weaknesses and how to peak for a contest. I probably could have peaked better, but I was really good at working my weaknesses. I tried to make my body into a suit of armor, so wherever you hit, it was strong and had muscle. So even though I power lifted, I knew that I would do all those other exercises as heavy as I fucking could. Like when I got ready for a contest, squat, bench, deadlift, you have a training cycle. Well, I would follow the same training cycle for close grips and inclines, shoulder presses, bent over rows, stiff leg deadlifts, pause squats. Those would all be thrown in the mix besides the little stuff. And those big, heavy other main movements, I trained and did the same reps. I would go down to doubles and bent over rows even, because I wanted everything strong at the same time.
Yep.
God, I love it.
I couldn't, absolutely. I do something very similar that I picked up from you a long time ago. Without your influence, I would have never done the things I've done.
A lot of the things that we do, we don't know why, except it feels good.
Yeah.
Like, John, look at the way you look. Look at the way Akeem looks. Look at the way Nick looks and how long he lasted. We all find our own little way.
Yeah.
It's just a twist on the basics of what everyone knows. There's only so many exercises.
True.
Yeah.
How we put it together, how our minds work, what we're willing to go through, and that makes it good.
Yeah. So you're 21 years old. You're world champion for the first time, and then at that point, you just kept winning and winning. I mean, what was the progression? Did you just become?
Well, when the following year, I couldn't hold my weight anymore. The only time I went up in weight was when I got too lean to be able to handle heavy weights, because that would hurt you a lot.
Yeah, and you were just shredded back then.
Yeah,
you were always shredded though. Even when you finally went to the 275s, you were still shredded.
I did that because they had a heavy and a light. Is like it was up to 220 and then over 220 for the money. So I think I weighed in at like 248 or something.
Yeah. It was and just squatted over a G like it was nothing.
So every time I moved up in weight, of course I was able to put on more muscle because I didn't get fat, and my total went crazy with the lifts I was doing.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I always did. Everyone says a lot of people get into the routine that they think they have to change things all the time, but if it's working, why the hell would I change anything?
Yeah.
True.
I just kept going.
Please tell James that.
Yeah,
Tell James that.
Gain weight, everything changes. You'll handle more weight anyway.
Yeah.
So it all works.
No, exactly.
Just dial in your technique and put some work in, and good things are going to happen no matter what.
Yep.
So where along this line, because obviously you just at this point you just started getting stronger and bigger and just basically moving weights that nobody ever seen before. When did the actual looking at what point in your career did you start to really analyze technique and start going, okay, I'm going to be able to do more by doing this? It was like I remember seeing some pictures, like low bar squatting. I can remember seeing some pictures of you. I was on the cover of Powerlifting USA, I believe, Jesus Christ, I swear to God, I was like, his fucking arms looked like coming out of his sides because you had that bar so low.
I
you know?
had really long arms. Well, I still do. And a really, really big back. Because my legs, me and Akeem kind of deadlift the same because his legs are shorter than his torso. So it looks like you're using more back, but that's just how you're built. It's perfect for you. So I never really analyzed my technique. I went by feel.
Really?
And
so you just understood. You just understood that getting that bar so low on your back was going to make you so efficient. It was all self-discovery. Nobody was telling you what to do.
No. See, the thing with the bar being low is it still rests on your back delts, but most people will keep their shoulders high like this. I would completely depress my shoulders. So then look at what happens to your center of gravity.
Yeah. It drops.
It pulls everything closer to your core.
Yeah, because that's crazy, brother. Because I always assumed, and obviously, you know, the assumptions are never a good thing because you're usually wrong. I always assumed that somewhere along the lines, you had somebody that kind of got in there and helped you with your technique. Because, I mean, everything that I've always watched you do or seen you do or pictures, you always look in pretty damn good position, like someone had kind of told you how to get there. But with what you're saying now, it makes perfect sense. You just have that. It's like you've got that perfect strength, athletic intelligence. Listening to you talk, you just understand where your body needs to be to be the most efficient with that weight.
Really good kinetic sense. You know, Squat University uses a bunch of my stuff a lot. Aaron, and when I came up with that thing with the 10-second rep, that was before anybody came up with tempo training. And the idea was so you could feel where your body was supposed to be on the way down in segments, not just going down slow, but actually like stopping on the way down, and you'd be able to get a feel for where you were. So then when you get down to the bottom, you're in the perfect position to push up.
Yeah.
And you could do that on almost every exercise.
I mean, I so get what you're saying because I remember in high school, I actually discovered low bar squatting accidentally. And it was like, I realized, I was like, God, why'd that feel so good today? So I started paying closer attention. It was just the fact that the bar was sliding down a little bit. Yeah. And I was getting stronger as my sets went on. You know, I was like, why is it that the last 4 reps of a set of 10 felt so much better than the first ones? As a kid, set of 10 is awful. You know what I mean? All you want to do is like.
What happens is when someone tries to do low bar, it actually feels really, really weird, but the weight shoots up. So then you associate the weirdness, but it comes down to your brain saying, well, wait a second, but the weight went up easy. So then it turns around and makes it into a good thing.
Yeah. Weird becomes good real quickly, for sure, you know?
Yeah. It's almost any exercise you do. Even what he has to go through with bodybuilding. It's the same thing. That's where you get, you know, like Frank Zane used to say, that mind-muscle connection. You got to be in the right spot to be able to feel everything the way you have to feel it. Like, you know, everyone talks. You see guys get on social media and they put up all the stuff about the long head and the short head and the this plane and that plane and all this shit. But you look at some of the best guys in every fucking sport, and they just fucking lifted and did their shit.
Yeah. True.
Well, and like the muscle mind connection. I mean, I just turned 51, and I was like, just last week, I was like, holy shit, I felt that better this workout that I think I ever have in my whole life. It never stops. That's the beautiful thing about what we do, you know?
And we're constantly changing. So as long as you find your spot for each exercise, and usually it's how you start the exercise is how you're going to finish. So as you set up right, you'll get the amount of weight you want, and you'll get the feel you want.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so keep talking through. So we're in our early 20s. We're just weights are shooting up, body weight's shooting up. Yeah. Still kind of just eating what you want, except a steak at night.
And I didn't worry about any bodybuilding part anymore because I figured if I could lift the most I could.
Oh no!
I was going to say
we lost him.
There you are. But when I hit 220, that's when, I mean, I totaled 2,200 at 198, and that's before when they had 2-hour weigh-ins. No squat bars, no deadlift bars.
Yep.
And no monolift.
Just one stiff bar.
When
Had to
I
walk
went up
everything back.
220, that's when I was only 20 pounds short of beating Bill Kazmaier's all-time total in the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
So that's when I got a lot more prominence then all over the world.
Yeah. So when you were squatting, I clearly remember being backstage at one of the contests and watching you and helping where I could and just trying to. I mean, you're watching your idol lift, and it was just one of the neatest things.
Just soaking it up, man. Soaking it up.
Oh, I don't think Eddie realizes how much I picked up from him. The way I squat slow and go down, that's exactly it. I feel my body in the position all the way down, and as soon as I get my cue to come out of the hole, I explode.
Because you're in the right position to do it.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And I learned that from you.
Oh,
yeah. And then, but I remember, I think we were at the Plaza Hotel, and you had these 2 red spots on your back that your skin was tearing because you would squat.
Yeah, I had these giant calluses that when I put the back on, they would just rip apart and there'd be blood all over the bar. It was a beautiful thing.
It was pretty cool, but I remember at that contest, you took off your shirt and you were so freaking unbelievably wide and then so unbelievably thick. I'm like, I just want to get like that someday. One day I just want to be that wide and that thick. I'm going to be a little taller, but it was just one of the most amazing things. And the other kick-ass thing is what's it like watching everybody else warm up in the back room, and then you have to go take your last warm-up out on the platform?
Because they didn't have to wait for the warm-up room.
Yeah, exactly. That was freaking cool.
I didn't care about anything. I just was there for me.
Yeah.
This was that's what I got excited over. That was me giving myself a gift every time I walked in the gym or got to lift. I just loved it. It was what am I here to do? I'm here to lift to see how much I can lift on this day. So nothing ever really bothered me like that.
So, quick question. Obviously, we started off the story with lifting weights, but before that, did you know that you were like remarkably strong before you actually picked up a weight?
No, I was always really athletic, but I had no idea I would become anything like that. None at all. I just knew right away. It was like, bing.
The light goes on. That's awesome.
And it was like you just kind of knew you were in the right spot, almost like the universe had put you where you needed to be.
Yeah, it just felt so good. Everything changed. I knew that's what I had to do and where I had to be.
Yeah. So how many world championships did we roll forward in a row?
Oh, I don't know. There was a couple missed drug tests that I had, but I don't know, a minimum of a dozen.
Yeah, I was going to say it was. When I was looking at some of the stats, it was running down off the page.
Yeah, and I didn't really care. I liked lifting in the gym more than I did competing.
Yeah. I think everybody's kind of like that.
I can only imagine some of the crazy stuff you probably did in the gym that you probably wish you had on camera right now, right?
Oh,
in the age of social media.
Oh, yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, in the age where the only way to get a picture was a real fucking picture. It was not the same.
Well, Brian Schoenfeld used to lift with us too.
Yeah, he was. Schooney was crazy, man. Crazy.
Just imagine. So we would end up making contests about every single lift that we could do.
Oh, that's funny.
And Brian was extremely competitive. It did make a difference.
You couldn't beat him in any pressing event, though. That was impossible.
No, hell no. Yeah, he was a moose, man.
Well, the first time I met you, John, was when Mark Filippi ran that meet at UNLV.
Yeah, that was like my third ever strongman contest.
Yeah,
I'm pro, and I'm basically walking in there, and I'm seeing all these people that I've been seeing on TV. You're there, and I'm looking around. I'm just shitting in my pants.
Yeah, but you did really well too.
I remember I came out of the gate, first event, and won the press. I'm like, okay, you're supposed to be here. Fucking settle down, dude.
Yeah. And Nick, I met you in Chicago at one of those Dennis Brady meets that he used to have.
Oh my God.
You were 242 at the time.
Yep.
And sexy as shit.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh.
Yeah, and then the year I went 275s, you and Kurt came in the back because I didn't have anybody handling me.
Yeah.
You got anybody handling him? I'm like, nope.
Yeah. That was great.
And it was just the neatest experience. Sorry, guys.
No,
it's
okay,
all,
man.
brother.
It's supposed to be like that when it means something to you.
Absolutely, brother. Emotions are. We're here because we love this shit. You know, these are tears of joy you're shedding with Nick, and we'd love to be a part of it, brother. It's fucking beautiful. You know,
especially when someone cares.
Yeah.
Because you don't get a lot of that shit nowadays at all.
No, you don't.
Especially with social media, everyone thinks of their shit.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's when you think back of decades of commitment, it really starts to, you know, it's part of your soul at that point, you know.
Is that too much?
I think it's okay. Whatever works with you works with us, brother. Shit. Hell, you could be sitting there with the bandana over your face, and we'll take it.
It'll probably be better. You get better ratings.
Oh, I love it. I know when you lifted and continue to lift even well past your best, just because you just fucking loved to lift, just kept competing and kept enjoying it.
The last meet I did was just to get it in, to prove that my knee would be okay. Because my cousin, who's my surgeon, he came there after I blew my knee out in like 2001 or 2, and that's a nice YouTube video. And
talk to us about that. Talk us through that. That was pretty heavy.
It was 100% my fault. I set up way too fast and put my right leg out farther than my left. So when I went down, it buckled in and just my patellar tendon snapped in half right in the middle.
So explain again what you're feeling. You set up too quickly, and you just didn't have your feet set.
One leg was out a lot farther than the other. So when I went down about 3/4 of the way down, it buckled in, and that's when it snapped. And you know what? Thank God I used to lift with all these old timers from Illinois, Ernie France and Bill Sino, and all these world record holders, because I knew how to dump a bar.
Yeah.
So I dumped the bar and dove out, or else I would have been crushed underneath because they couldn't have grabbed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then my cousin put me back together, and I came back, no problem. And just to make sure that I could still do it, I squatted a real easy 931 that day, and I was happy with it. Wow.
Listen, love it. A real easy 931. That's just to hear that any person on the planet say a real easy 931. That's a pretty good statement, Ed. After a surgery, nevertheless, you know.
Yeah, and so I was okay knowing that I could still do it if I wanted to, but I didn't have the ambition to keep going up because I knew I couldn't be the same guy and lift the same weights. So I didn't want to look like an old boxer to get back in the ring again, and it's just a travesty, and it looks like shit. Yeah. I didn't need that. So I was happy to step away, but I felt my right hip starting to go and get really, really achy then. My mom had both knees done, a hip, a shoulder, because she had osteo and rheumatoid arthritis. So I was the lucky sibling that got that.
Wow. Well, I was going to say that was the next thing I was going to ask you to talk about your hip, because I remember shortly after your hip surgery, I saw you at an expo, and you're like, "I'm already squatting 675 again." It was like weeks after the surgery.
Yeah, I was in like the following year. I was in Australia, and a bunch of people bowed out to lift in this big money meet. And the guy who ran the meet, Wayne Howlett, said, you know, he just had bicep surgery, but he was going to do some squats. And he was just going to go 300 kilos, which is 661. And I said, I'll do that. So I did it really easy. And then my wife pulled me off stage after that because she knew that it was so easy that I would have kept going up. So then I
like, no, come here.
You know, and like I said, I probably could have gone up to 750 that day, but it's probably better that I didn't because it might have put me on another bad trajectory to keep doing it and make myself worse.
Yeah.
And then some years later, I felt my other hip going, and I went back to my cousin again, and he just said, "Yeah, do you want to nip this in the ass right now?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "But I have the Arnold Classic coming up next weekend, and I can barely fucking walk right now." And he said, "Just come in the office." So I got a shot in that hip right through the front, laying down.
Oh.
Sunk like this giant needle all the way through it.
Oh God.
And I hopped up that table like I could fucking do the Irish jig. I had no
Really?
pain. Walked around at Arnold all weekend, and then we set up the surgery.
Nice.
And it was easy. As soon as I got home from the hospital, I stayed there 2 days on purpose, and I squatted right down to my coffee table. And 8 days after surgery, I put a red on each side of the bar, so it was 165 pounds. And I went down to parallel and came up, and I was like, no pain. I'll be fine.
Wow. That's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah.
So
whatever you do in your life to try to be the very best, no matter what it is, there are repercussions when you get to be the very best that you can be. Just make sure you do epic shit before you're done. That's all fucking worth it.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, you know, that whole the trade-off, the sacrifice, and the things that have to be done to get there. That's well accepted. You know, you're a person is not going down the pathway to greatness, you know, worried about what life's going to be like after he gets there.
No, you know why?
Accept
Because
that.
we love it. And every time we walk in the gym, it's not a sacrifice; it's a gift.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
100%.
For sure.
And it still is.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I never looked at the training as a sacrifice. I looked at all the shit that it was all the no's that I had to say. I had to say no to so much shit. No to friends going out, no to friends doing this, no to family members doing that. It was, I never totally agree with you, Eddie. Going to the gym, that was fun. It's like my birthday. What do you want for your birthday? Get the fuck out of my way. I want to have my day, and going to the gym is part of that. You know,
I've torn muscles. I've had surgeries. I've shit my pants squatting. I've thrown up. I've had tons of bloody noses and shit, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah.
But you know, when I shit my pants, I did 900 for 5 reps in the squat, and it started on the first rep. It was like like the old Play-Doh machine.
Oh, so it was. I was going to say. So
Yeah,
you were like repping it. You were repping it out as it was getting worse. That's commitment, brother.
And
That's perfect.
Just a rep.
Wow. Oh, I love it.
That's funny.
You know, sometimes when I do a workshop or something, and someone will ask a story about that, and I'll say, well, wait a second. How many people here, if you could do 900 for 5 and shit in your pants, would still do it? And every guy there raises their arm.
Absolutely. You could ask that question for 1, or hell, you could ask that question for 800 for 5. You'd still have everybody raising their hands. You know?
Yeah, Ronnie did like 800 for 2.
Mm-hmm.
I could have done that for a dozen.
Yeah.
That's insane, man. That's so insane. You really are on a whole different level, a whole different plane of a lifter. That's why I love that. You know, when I was thinking about, you know, getting prepared for the show, I thought this is going to be like the easiest intro ever, because you're undisputable. You can't, there's no way to argue against you being the best. You know,
I always kept a good attitude because, well, I had great parents, but I can't do strongman like Nick. I can't be a bodybuilder like Akeem. I can't do strongman and look like you. So there's always something, and someone can do better. I don't know how to change the oil in my fucking car. So I may be special when I lift a weight, but after that, we're just regular idiots like everyone else.
Yeah.
So why would anyone get a big head on that? You don't have to.
And to have one special thing, that's pretty good. You know, to have one special thing and understand it's just one special thing and be so humble about it, bro. That's really cool.
It is. You know, I'm still Eddie Coan. I'm not the GOAT. I'm not this. I'm just a freaking idiot like everyone else. When I go to the Arnold or when I go to the Olympia like this year, I don't even go to the shows. I just want to hang out.
Yeah.
I want to tell stories.
That was a lot of fun.
And, you know, the stories, I lift more weights. My dick is bigger. I'm taller than I ever was. But, they get a little embellished, but they're still good.
That's it. That's right. As we get older, the stories they get a little bit better as you get older. That's the way a story should be,
Glory days.
I still can't believe you owned a tiger.
Yeah, I had 2.
Tell us about that, brother.
I used to know these people that had some tattoo shops, Roy Boys, and him and his wife, and I used to train his wife. And they used to have the tigers. They had a special license. And I used to just take them home with me all the time for as long as I wanted because I had a federal license. Mm-hmm. And it worked out really, really well. It was great. I had them when they were since they were 5 weeks old, I'd bring them home here and there and take care of them. I had them when they were over 300 pounds. And
I was going to say, talk to us about when they were full grown. Those things must have been monsters.
The white one, usually a tiger will remember you for life when they get your smell if you're with them enough.
Mm-hmm.
So
really?
I hadn't seen the white one in 2 years, and I went there, and I was at the end of a warehouse, and at the front of it, and all the way in the back, a huge, long L-shaped run cage where the tiger was, and all of a sudden he just leaned up and smelled me and ran and tried to knock the whole cage over till they let him out.
Oh,
really?
And
they let him out, and this dude, Pearl, was probably about 850 pounds, 7 foot tall. And loved me.
Yeah, when he wants out of that cage, if he wants out, you better let him out or he's going to get out anyway.
Yeah, he made a point.
Wow,
but it was great. I mean, they would take naps with me when they're young and have fun and play with the dogs and all kinds of stuff.
That's really cool, brother.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Mike Tyson ain't got nothing on me.
I was just about to say that.
I love it. So talk to us about you. I mean, how many meets total did you do? Had to be,
I don't know.
Hundreds, yeah?
A lot. Well, I never counted them. Well, back in the day when they didn't have all these money meets and stuff. I think they had the Hawaii Invitational, which was for money. Mm-hmm. Not nearly the money that they have today. And everything else was just nationals and worlds. You went to the nationals to try to get on the world team. Nowadays, no one has to do that to get notoriety. Back then, you had to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. That was the only way the rest of the world would really know who you were.
Mm-hmm.
So
Powerlifting USA.
Yeah, and you go overseas to all the world championships all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So tons of meets. Weren't even counting your records. But go through the memory bank and talk to us about some of your favorite memories in meet settings. What is it? Was it a certain lift? Was it a contest? I mean, I'm just excited to hear some cool stories about some of the cool, your favorite memories of powerlifting.
The best meet I ever had was at 220 when I totaled over 2,400. That was in Dallas, Texas.
That's insane.
And Doug Furness would usually come and coach me on the day, and Marty Gallagher would run my numbers. So I had people I could trust where I didn't have to think for myself, which is perfect. I didn't have to think about my numbers. I didn't have to think about my attempts. Everything would always be set up perfect for me.
Roughly what year would this have been?
That was 1991.
Okay.
And I squatted 959. And that's when the weight went
ahead
out
of his
a little
time.
bit heavy at the end, so it was more like 962. I benched a pretty easy 545 with raw, no shirt. And I weighed 218 and a half that day. And I pulled 901, but I was more concerned about the total. So I opened up at 837. And then I said, what do I need to total over 2,400? And the call was 898. So I said, put on 898. But they figured out the weights were heavy, so they had to reweigh them all, and it turned out to be 901.
Oh, wow.
And I tried 920 something that day, but it was anticlimactic, and I got too fired up too soon. I pulled it a little over my knees, and then I just kind of leaned forward. And that was it.
Wow.
Some of the other ones, there was a meet, I think, in Finland. Now, in Finland, the powerlifting would like preempt any other program. They would just show powerlifting. Didn't matter about the news or a scheduled program. It didn't matter. And the crowds were so out of control, crazy, that it was beautiful. I mean, you would even see like beer cans flying up stage. You would see like, oh yeah, it was fucking nuts. And it was great. It was great. It was a meathead's dream to have that many crowds. Like they'd sell out a hockey stadium and they'd have it there. And it was excellent. It was excellent. And a couple of the other meets were always Australia's been phenomenal for powerlifting and fans.
Yeah.
What would be if you had to say like in terms of what meet, what country, what city was the biggest crowd you've ever lifted in front of? And then what year would this have been? Because you're talking about a time when there was so few meets too. Yeah. I mean, it's not like current times.
I can't really think of the year, but it was the first meet ever put on in Russia.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was in it was actually called Leningrad back then before it changed over to St. Petersburg, because it was still under USSR. Before perestroika, before everything broke up. We were there, and they sold out a 3,000 seat auditorium in 40 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And they had a squat on Olympic weightlifting bars, so it was like that.
Jesus.
Yeah, bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, it was crazy, but it was awesome. It was awesome.
Wow. So here's an interesting question. I mean, when it comes down to most impressive lifts, I mean, you're tied to most of them. But outside of yourself, talk to you about some of because you've been around so many great lifters over your tenure of lifting. Talk to us about some really impressive stuff that you've seen, with people you've trained with, or whether it be training or meets or
now
all
in
the
a meet. Kirk did the first 1,003 ever in IPF competition and drug tested. I saw Lamar Gant pull 683 all the way over in Perth, Australia, as a member of our team, and he was at 132 pounds.
Hold on, say that again. Say that again.
Yeah,
683 at 132 pounds, and that was before deadlift bars with 2-hour weigh-ins.
Yep.
Yeah, and also too, talk to us a little bit about in terms of just the setting was different, the bar, even equipment, the equipment, even like all the way back to the knee wraps, say then versus now.
Oh,
drastically.
God.
Talk to us about
nothing.
The gear changes.
Nothing like it.
Yeah.
I would rather have a nice tight pair of knee sleeves now than the old school knee wraps.
Really?
Yeah.
It was like an old Ace bandage, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I started with those. But that's all you had, so you used them.
And so, like, when you think about an old school bench shirt or a squat suit, tell what
they really maybe gave you 15 pounds or something at the most. And I didn't like them because they didn't fit right, because I had such a really big back that it wasn't the stretchy material back then. So in your armpits, you'd have these actually like rip and blood stains and stuff because the shirts were so tight in there before they changed and figured it out. So
I could probably grab it out of the cabinet.
Pardon?
Yeah, so Nick, I interrupted you. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I could probably reach into the cabinet and pull it out here.
Yeah, you probably still have it.
Oh, I do. It's got your signature on it.
That's funny.
Still got it, but the nylon material didn't give it all.
No, and they were the same material as the front and the back, so it wouldn't stretch in the back.
Correct.
So you had a lot of blowouts too.
Yep.
You got some guys nowadays that are strong as shit. I mean, I know the equipment has changed, but they're still strong as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, look at John Hackett. He still lays down his bench presses 600 freaking pounds, weighing a little over 200 pounds.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
The most impressive guy I trained with, first of all, the guy who could train the hardest would be Mark Filippi.
I was going to say Mark is just such an impressive lifter, unbelievable.
Yeah. He could train way harder than I could because I didn't have to. And the other guy would be Derek Kendall. Now Derek was a super heavyweight, weighing 350, came from bodybuilding, was not really that fat or anything, no belly or anything. And I saw him do a 5-second 865 raw pause squat. And then right after that, he goes, well, I haven't done front squats for a few months because I wanted to get ready for a meet. So he walked out 760 with just knee sleeves on and did a 3 or 4 second pause squat with 760 in the front squat.
Oh my God.
And I lifted off for him when he paused 650 in the gym too, raw.
Wow.
He got hurt, so he I think he hurt his hip. So he kind of quit early. But yeah, he had the most potential out of anyone I've seen at the time.
Wow.
And you said he was like 350 pounds?
Yeah. And he could train hard. A lot of volume and assistance work.
So when you were going back to where you're talking about Mark Philippi and you said he trained a lot harder than you, you said your comment was, I didn't have to. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I think, well, I had already laid down the shoot base and had my own formula that was working. Mm-hmm. So I would never be willing to switch either. Mm-hmm. But Mark knew that he had to do a lot more volume for himself the way he was built to be able to get any results. And that's where he came out with, his per vol hit, periodization, volume, and hit training would be one routine for the squat, bench, and deadlift. And it worked really hard, or really well for him, but it was hard. It was freaking hard. If you can get through it, you will grow.
Mark is a tough dude, man. Yeah. Mark, I love Mark. He's one of those guys that when I came into the sport, I was so fresh and new, and he kind of took me under his wing. We'd travel. I'd sit next to him on the bus, and he just made me feel like I was going to be okay when I was scared to death.
Yeah, he was always pretty relaxed and monotone. Yeah. But he is extremely, extremely smart with training sports and everything else. I would trust him.
Yeah, no, I remember calling him multiple times, just saying, "Hey, we're getting ready for the show. What should I do?" And keep in mind, we would in many cases be competing head to head, and he would still give me the best. He would tell me exactly what to do.
Yeah, that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah. I remember one of the best pieces of advice he gave me, and it's still I can remember to the T. I was sitting. It was at the time I was training at Gold's Gym. I remember the car was in, and I was having a workout, and I was a little frustrated, so I called him, and I explained the problem, and he just did a little pause, and he goes, "Stop leaving it all in the gym." And that was boom. All of a sudden, the light bulb went off. I'm like, "Holy shit! I need to be doing this in competition, not in my training." And that's when I really started getting better.
Your own insecurities make you think that you have to go all out in the gym.
Yeah,
to be able to show it.
And that's exactly what it was. I was trying to get myself to feel more confident by overdoing it in the gym. When in actuality, he's like, look, you want those efforts in the contest, and that's when it all clicked. Yeah,
I think like what Akeem has to go through is actually even worse. The problem with bodybuilding is not that there's a problem with bodybuilding, is we don't get to see what they actually go through to get to being on stage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Very true.
People would take a whole different attitude if they had to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, when I switched to bodybuilding and I, okay, I'm going to do this for real and go for it. The amount of, I consider myself to be a disciplined dude, but going to bodybuilding tested my grit like a motherfucker. At the end, I was just barely holding on to get to those shows. It's brutal.
Yeah. When people say, embrace the grind, they have no freaking
exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. No idea.
They don't know what suck really is.
Oh yeah. And that's exactly. Yep. You just hit it on the head. The joke I was making is, you just have to accept that life's going to suck for like 6 weeks, and when you think of suck, go way beyond what you think suck is, and then again, and that's where where you got to live.
Especially
for 6 weeks.
when you're no energy and hungry.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. The feeling of being tired all the time, it's almost like a form of torture, When you say,
don't forget the hunger, Nick. I'm John. I know.
Yeah.
I know you're probably getting hungry already.
Yeah. Last time we were on the show, he was like, we wrapped it up. He's like, I got to go eat, man. It was, he wasn't even saying goodbye.
What amazes me, the unbelievable copious amounts of food that bodybuilders can eat. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, it's just spinning that metabolism up with eating. You know,
with good stuff.
Yeah,
100%. Well, it's like Jay Cutler out eating Brian. Like when they sit. Yeah. Jay could out eat Brian.
I bet the highlight of his day is when he gets to put like a little hot sauce on a chicken breast or something.
Get some flavor.
For me, it's my oatmeal in the morning.
Yeah, there you go.
Really?
Can't wait to a sleepless night, but can't wait to
the night before I'll be thinking about the oatmeal in the morning after cardio.
Yeah. Can't sleep thinking about the oatmeal.
Yep.
So, brother, we always like to you've had such an amazing career, and you've overcome so many obstacles along the way. We talked about a few, but one thing we always like to have somebody like yourself, especially, tell a few stories about how you've had to overcome some sort of obstacle or multiple obstacles to get where you want to go, because especially these current, as I call them, snowflakes, they don't understand what it really means to make a sacrifice to overcome something. If it looks like they can't do it, they just fucking mail it in.
Well, that means they don't want it bad enough.
I agree. But as somebody like yourself shares a story about, I totally agree. But we're trying to inspire the youth here, brother. So tell them a story.
When I was a kid growing up, I had to go to the Illinois Institute of Technology because I had absolutely no hand-eye coordination. They had to put horse blinders on me with special glasses just to try to learn how to bounce a ball in a straight line. So I was completely uncoordinated. But
how old were you?
That was like second, third grade.
Oh, wow.
Okay. But you know what? I've never thought about it, or my parents, maybe it's on them. I never thought of anything about feeling bad about myself. I just thought, okay, this is the way it is. Let's go and do it. And I always just try to get better. At whatever I do, I just try to get better. When I leave here, when I get off with you, I got to drive an hour and a half up to Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Well, I have a weed company.
Yeah.
What do you have?
Yeah. He's got a marijuana company.
Oh, good for you, Eddie.
Yeah, we have a processing lab, and we're going to make a grow too, because we got the license for that. So we got approved. We got our medical license and our recreational use or adult use license. And I got to go up there and spend the whole day out there till tomorrow night out there.
Well, good for you, brother. Make sure when we wrap up, we'll tell Ben, the producer, the contact information so that he can advertise your spot and you can get a look.
Yeah, it's just Boone Labs right in Buchanan, Michigan. But see, we're a processor, so we take the flower and we break it down and turn it into some products for the stores.
Okay.
I got you.
So we don't. I don't care if it gets oversaturated with stores because they still need our product.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, we could even make a Legends of Strength gummy. I told you.
I was going to ask you.
I got a good idea for when we make our edibles. We're going to have little dumbbell-shaped edibles, and we'll make it into an indica brand, which are strain, which is more for relaxation and sleep. So it would be for recovery, and we're going to call them edibles.
Oh, there we go.
I love that.
I'm telling you, brother, you're going to get some traction on that one.
Oh, you'll get some. So don't worry about it.
Are you shipping are there any locations in Las Vegas or Nevada?
You're not allowed because it's not federal.
Good.
But that doesn't mean that you couldn't allegedly show up in Michigan and go back.
Oh, good point. Good point. Yeah, which I'll probably end up doing actually. So
or fly in and
Nick, make sure you don't drive, Nick.
Sometimes miraculous magic and miracles, all of a sudden shit just shows up at your doorstep. I don't know how it happens sometimes like that.
Awesome.
I love it.
I didn't know.
It's like the marijuana stork. They don't deliver the babies. They deliver marijuana now.
I was thinking Vegas is all lawless. You would seem to think that Vegas would
embrace it.
Exactly.
It's just that so you're not really supposed to be able to cross state lines, and I think the banking laws will change pretty soon. Then what's going to happen is all the big shots, these multi-billion corporations, Coke and Pepsi and McDonald's, and who knows, they're going to end up getting into that business.
True.
As a side hustle.
And then that's when it's going to shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once the federal part of that goes, I know 2 of the beer distributorships here have looked into that and actually got paperwork and things in the works for when that ever does do that. That'll be something that they end up distributing as well.
They can put 10 milligrams of THC in a beer.
No shit.
No, I don't even want to think about that one.
They've actually done
God.
that, Eddie.
Yeah?
They've actually made beer with no alcohol, but it has THC in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
With a regular beer, you could still get drunk. You just wouldn't have anyone getting violent.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, you don't
Just be
see
laid
how many
back
times
Mellow Budweiser or something.
That's
I
yeah.
would say how many times you see people
Bud-
smoking
no,
dope
Bud
fighting. It
Mellow.
never happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Bud Mellow.
So life is good. You know what? I learned a lot of my business stuff from watching Stan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. He's a genius for sure.
And he
You know?
does everything by himself, hands-on. He doesn't take a lot of help from anyone. So I just kind of learned to just get off your ass and do it.
Well, you know, on that level, bro, that's one of the things that, you know, I think people tend to miss is that if you're doing something you enjoy to make money, you want to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what's missed. It's like people say, oh, you know, like my middle daughter's boyfriend was getting ready to graduate college. He's like, hey, you know, I want to talk to you about so I'm planning on doing this and I'm planning on retiring. I said, well, let me just pose a thought for you. You're planning a retirement, which means you're planning to get away from doing something you don't want to do for the next 40 to 50 years. Don't you think now's the time to think about what you want to do so you don't ever have to retire? Because if you're doing what you want to do and make money, your revenue stream never stops until
you continue to live your dream the whole time.
and you never your revenue stream never stops until one day you don't wake up and then you don't need it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I don't.
It's like-
I still go out and do some workshops and stuff because I just like getting out and doing it.
Yes.
I have fun.
When you're if you're doing what you're doing every day, irregardless of money, then you never have to work. And I think that's it. And that's you know, Stan is one of those just like that. He does a lot of shit hands on because he loves it, and that's the way it should be.
Yes,
you know?
he does. When what people ask, well, is it hard to travel or do this? I said, well, wait a second. Someone's paying your way. They're putting you up. They're buying all your food. They're giving you a bunch of money, and they already like you without realizing that you're a dickhead just like them. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. No, that's the truth. I mean, that's
it's easy to get through to people. All you got to do is just be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you can get good enough at something where you get to travel the world for free and get paid, and all your expenses are paid, that's that's living, man.
Yeah, you should be able to be nice because you love it.
Yeah, I mean, how could you be a pissed off cocksucker when you're doing that for a living? I mean, come on, what would ever going to make you happy, for God's sake?
Fun. Sometimes like I don't really care for airports. But I don't mind flying. It's kind of weird. I just don't like people that much.
Yeah, you know, I got a little distaste with airplanes as I just spent too many of those trips to Japan, 13 hours. Those wore me out, man.
Were you with like All Japan Pro Wrestling?
New Japan, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that I remember Doug Furness, I think he was with All Japan. Was that like that guy Baba or whoever they
All Japan, I think it actually got kind of it changed names. There was almost like, this is long before I was there, but there was almost like battles of companies at one point, you know. All Japan and New Japan were the two big boys, and then something happened with All Japan, New Japan took over, but either way, you know, no matter what it was still a 13-hour flight when you're going over there.
Yeah, and you guys had to work harder than the guys do back in the US.
Yeah, it was which for me it actually fit my kind of my mentality. I like to work hard. That's one of the reasons. Yeah, because I mean I was a fucking terrible wrestler. I didn't even really learn how to do it very well. I just kind of showed up in the way I looked.
You looked like He-Man, so you could go in there and be a bruiser.
Yeah, and so the fact that they didn't mind, they call it strong style. I could go in there and bang shit around. Nobody really cared if you got blooded up a little bit, as long as nobody was missing, nothing was broken, and nobody was missing a tooth. Nobody cared.
I remember he said when Mike Tyson fought Buster Douglas at the Tokyo Dome, there was 28,000 people there. 2 weeks later, the wrestlers came in and there was 65,000 people there.
Oh, dude, I'm
Wow.
telling you, I've worked in that arena. I've worked in the Tokyo a few times, and it's fucking crazy. It's like we joke. It takes just as long to get down to the ring as you're in there. When you got to hustle down there, so the show's not too long. It takes a solid 5 minutes to walk down to the ring.
It's
crazy. Fucking crazy. Yeah, I mean, and you look, you're in the ring, and you look up, and the people in the top are so far away. You're thinking, what in the hell what can they see? But they love it.
Oh, I used to hang out with all the boys when they come into town. The Steiner brothers. Scott and Rob, and back then Lex Luger and Sting, and even Flair, and here's a good Flair story. We're at like the Hyatt O'Hare, and the WWF was in town at the same time. So it was Atlanta and New York was there at the same time, and so everyone ends up in the hotel, and Ric Flair walks by me, of course in the bar, and he goes, Eddie, 1670 total, 1972, woo! Because he did some powerlifting way back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, he was actually some pretty good muscle on him for back in those days.
Yeah. And then who was it? Norton was around back then. He was a monster bencher, like 640 raw.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a lot of strong dudes.
Well, I mean, especially back in those days, it was athletes from other sports that basically had the look and showed up. That's how I got in. I just lied about what experience I had, and then I got in there and did enough to keep the job.
You talk good enough shit.
Yeah. I mean, I just had to flex my muscles, yell real loud, and knock a few people over, not hurt anybody, and I was good.
That's kind of what you did every morning when you woke up.
I love it. Yeah, no, that was but yeah, I agree with you. I've the airplanes, airports, I mean, I'm kind of over it, but at the same time, when someone's paying for you to go do something, it's like, it's a pretty cool fucking thing.
Yeah,
what I mean?
It shows that you're valuable. You're worth something.
Yeah, 100%.
And then you just got to be humble. If I wanted to learn how to do a podcast and some other shit, I'd ask you guys. Bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Look at you two fuckers. Strongman. Look at Nick. So I'd ask you guys if you want to learn something a little more about powerlifting. Well, then I can help you with that. But that's just my expertise. We all are good at something.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Yep. So remember when I asked you the question about overcoming something? Talk to us about something you overcame competitive wise.
It was more because I was more introverted. To get out on stage was a little more nerve-wracking for me.
Really?
I was better in the warm-up room than I would be walking out on stage.
Really?
I would have to really try to almost go to a Zen moment and breathe and control my breathing and just relax. So when I would set up with a lift, I would not, even though the crowd's in front, I wouldn't even see them. I didn't see anything.
Wow.
So that kind of explains why you only did one bodybuilding show, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. you know who was in the front row at my first bodybuilding show? Sergio Oliva.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember I got a
cool.
program signed from him, and his forearm was as big as my leg. His veins were like as thick as my fingers.
Wow.
Oh, shit. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I remember you
he was
overcoming
crazy.
something though. I remember they misloaded the bar. You were supposed to be opening with 947, and they misloaded the bar by 88 pounds.
It was
and it was like
10:36.
1,040.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
That's a big misload.
Wow.
No, and he hits the hole and gets about 3/4 of the way up before he misses it. I mean,
Yeah.
he
I almost had
legitimately,
it.
he almost had it. I mean, by this much, comes back, hurts his. I think your adductor.
Yeah, I
Comes
got
back.
as soon as I got in the hole with the weight that I had to take, because you get another chance, of course, which was like 5 minutes later.
Yeah,
I felt my adductor
It was
pop,
fast.
so when my adductor popped, I shifted all the weight to one side and pushed it up. And I was like, well, I'll bench and then I'll just pull a baby deadlift.
Yep.
Wow.
It happened.
So there we go. I mean, you basically took a squat that was like misloaded by a mile.
Yeah.
You know, banged you up.
Well, that
and you
would have
basically
smashed the
came
world
back.
record at the time too.
Yeah, they had an extra
smashed
pull on
it.
each side. How do you put a whole damn extra plate on one side and not notice?
Yeah, no shit. Jesus Christ.
They
Yeah,
wanted to take out the king.
So
Yeah, but
5
you
minutes
walked out
later,
of the rack like it was nothing, set up, and
Yeah, I think
legitimate
my last warm up was like
881.
yeah, and I don't even tie my
Nick
shoes
knows.
for that weight.
Eddie, did you catch that? Nick knows you're
Better
what
than
you
I
were
do.
doing better than you do. That's pretty cool, man.
You know,
That's when you know you're inspired
in his head
somebody.
at night for a little extra motivation.
You know,
Yep.
when we do these shows, it's become, I mean, little by little realizing that Nick is like, he's like kind of bordering on like a strength historian. He has more
Rain Man.
statistics. He pulls this shit out, and it's like, oh my God, like this right here was crazy. He said 881 before you did, and it was your life, your lift, your
I
story.
was like,
Sorry.
okay, I believe you.
Yeah, don't Nick, don't apologize. This is really cool shit, brother. Jesus
hell
Christ. God damn.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm just like Eddie said, you're Rain Man. I'm going to take you to the blackjack table so we can win some money.
One for bad, two for good.
And cards at the same time.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, brother, what would you say in terms of there's so many? I mean, now the sport has grown so much. There's so many meets. Like you said, the money's so big and compared to what it used to be, and it's bringing a lot of new lifters in. What advice would you give to say, let's kind of do 3 different levels. What advice would you give to the guys that are beginners that are coming in? Let's start there.
The advice I give to everyone is to take your time.
Okay.
Because you learn so much more about yourself instead of relying on other people to do things for you that you should learn by yourself, which they can't do. It's impossible for them to train you and just give you a program that they give everyone else and say, this is what you should do because this is what I say. Well, they don't know you. They don't know how you feel. They don't know how you put together on the inside. So you should definitely take your time to learn more about you, and then you'll never go wrong.
True.
Now, as far as beginning and intermediate lifters are, or I would even say intermediate and advanced is never let go of the basics. Always go back to the basics. The basics never go out of style. They made you what you are. You can even perfect the basics as you get older, as you get bigger, as you get stronger. It's always going to be the same to go back and learn how to do that shit. It's what holds you together. It gives you everything you got.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just that.
And I think a lot of guys miss now on doing heavy enough assistance work to fill in those little gaps. Everyone concentrates so much on squat, bench, and deadlift, and it's easy to get those up if that's all you do. But there's going to become a point where you got your strength and your weakness, and if your strength gets up this high and you don't bring up your weakness, that gap will get you hurt.
Yes.
There's so much a gap in between.
True.
Agreed.
Yeah. So it's really you're talking about making sure they don't turn away from the accessory work.
Exactly. It has to be done hard and heavy.
Yeah.
If you want to be good, you can't have a weakness.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. The weakness is just a matter of time before you get hurt.
Oh yeah, and it'll happen. And then that it's not going to be something small either.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
And if you truly love this sport or just being in the gym and you want to do it for a long time, take your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much true. I mean, it's so true. When you love it the way we do, it's a gift to be able to do it into your 50s and 60s, and to think that that's taken away because you fucked up the path along the way. That's a terrible thought.
Yeah, it's usually yourself. Another one is, I always talk about Stan, but he had a quote that he told me that there's nothing anybody will ever be able to do to or for you that'll be better than what you can do to or for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
Okay, brother. So what about these dudes that are that are really strong and they're already, doing pretty well? What's the biggest mistake that you see amongst this elite group that is, doing really well, but what are they doing that you would
You just got to stay your course and don't let social media influence how you train. Stick to the damn routine. Don't do anything for social media. You're handling weights now, whatever sets and reps that are far above everyone else already, that you don't have to prove yourself by doing singles and stupid shit in the gym.
Yeah.
Look what happened if he did that. If he blew a pec or a bicep, his career could be over.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So true.
All of our careers could be over just like that.
Maybe it was a blessing that when we were coming up, we didn't have social media, because I surely probably would have been the guy that tried to do too much cool shit for the camera.
Well, yeah, we're pretty. We are actually really lucky. The only thing I miss is Powerlifting USA magazine, and even Muscle and Fitness back in the day. I used to read religiously.
Yeah.
There's not a bodybuilder I didn't know from the old days all the way up.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. I mean, I spent so many time look at the magazines too. It didn't matter if it was bodybuilding, powerlifting. If somebody was lifting weights, that's all I wanted to see.
Strength and health. I've got Ironman magazines from 1955 still.
Wow. No shit.
The little yellow ones. Yeah.
Wow. That's cool, man. That's really cool.
I got a few of those from the early 80s.
Yeah.
They're a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
About this, I got about 4 or 5 of those still, but I got a ton of Muscle and Fitness and Flex, and I got Powerlifting USA stacked about that high. So,
right on.
If you are,
we've had you on here for well over an hour here, brother. I know you're a busy dude, and I know you got to go make a trip here in a little while. So
I'm only as busy as I want to be.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a good life, brother. That's the way it should be.
I have a protein drink on the way to Michigan, and I'm good.
There you go.
Cool.
There you go. That's perfect, bro. Well, I'll tell you, with somebody like yourself, we're going to have to do multiple visits with you, because there's just so much to talk about,
Maybe we'll do one where we all get together and we all do it out there in person.
Yeah. That would be great.
Yeah.
Like do it over a dinner table with food.
Yeah. That's killer.
Yeah,
for sure.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, well, here later this year, I'm going to be picking up a little crash pad in Vegas, so I'll be close to Nick. So it'll be that much easier. You come into town, we'll be right there.
Hell yeah. Well, I'll make it a point to come in town.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hakeem, where are you from? Where are you?
I'm out in New Jersey. New York, New Jersey.
Okay. Well, that's an easy trip. We'll get them out there.
Cool.
That's
that would be a blast.
That would be a lot of fun, dude. We should have like the Legends of Iron Roundtable edition where we all sit at a table.
And there's enough lifters and bodybuilders in Vegas anyways. We could have a huge thing that would be fucking hilarious with multiple cameras going, all of us busting each other's balls.
That would
be
And then all the of course the info that people would get.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
So do you want to do that at a restaurant, or do you want to do that?
We do it at someone's house or something.
Because I got a Traeger, so I could make all kinds of. I can make us prime ribs and stuff.
Something like that.
Okay, I'll make like.
Stan just bought a mansion out there too, so he has.
True. We can do that.
I mean, he'd probably serve us with no shirt on, but that's okay.
I love it. That's awesome.
No, he's one of the only guys I actually listen to on my health, because to plug that place, that Merrick Health place.
Yeah.
I signed up with them because of Stan and little Smokey that used to work for Mark Bell, and they changed a bunch of stuff in me. I have so much freaking energy now, and I feel so good. I almost feel guilty. It's crazy.
That's beautiful.
I think because I'll be 60 years old this year, and
wow.
Yeah, how about it? And you start accepting that, okay, well, I put on a lot of miles and I abused myself and I did this and that and I'm this old now. And you start accepting the fact that your norm is you feel shitty.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I didn't accept that anymore. I wanted to change it, and I was able to change it. Just with these
That's
guys,
beautiful.
they're brainiacs. So that's really my only plug today. Is they completely changed my life around. And it's
That's
pretty
beautiful,
cool.
brother. And that's what it comes down to, it, brother. With especially someone like yourself. I mean, again, you're the greatest ever in powerlifting. It's you deserve to feel good and enjoy the rest of your life. You know what I mean?
We all do.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean, but I mean,
even if
of
you
course.
even if you didn't get the accolades that we've had, you still deserve it because you put your time in the gym.
But I mean, but for me personally, speaking of you, brother, for you to say I feel good now, that makes me happy because that's something you've changed and influenced so many people. For you not to feel good would break my heart. And Nick, I know you feel the same way. So that's really fucking cool, brother.
Hey, look at Nick. Look what that fucker's alive and kicking and working out already.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
How many people that went through what he did would do that and not just sit on the couch and say, "Fuck me, I'm too depressed." No, that doesn't happen.
No, I got out.
Well,
the drags and step ups and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. The crazy part is that he's had 4 wheels and change on a bench bar hundreds and hundreds of times, and never ever over all these years have dropped it on his chest. And it happened in a time when it needed to for him to get that scan to catch that cancer. So I mean, it's like
meant to be.
It's like the universe said, "Look, this guy is not ready to go yet. We need to do something to him so he gets a scan." Well, bam.
Yeah.
Put that hand up, Nick. Look at the thumbs on him. I know you have the biggest. Look how big those hands are, and he benches he doesn't false grip. So that bar jumped those big thumbs somehow.
Yeah, how does that happen?
Exactly. It was
Here's one for you.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, his hands are bigger than mine, I think.
If you look on my Instagram page and scroll down, there's a picture of a few months ago when I was in Fargo. I picked up a basketball and just stuck it out in my hand like this and just held it out there like that.
That's crazy, brother.
I'm
Crazy.
but
you're one of the few people I always cringed when I went to shake his hand because your grip is just absolutely
I used to train
legendary. I mean, like, you got to be ready to shake your hand. When
the thing about the grip is these 2 fingers, your pinky and your ring finger. Those are the weakest ones. So I used to train those ones specifically.
Yeah.
I got up to like a single, like a farmer's walk or something, a single one arm in a power rack, 465 for 30 seconds on one hand.
What?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
And then when I put it down or dropped it, I would fall on the ground and they would have to try to open my hand because it wouldn't open.
Oh, dude, that's crazy shit.
Cool shit.
So here's a question.
That's a weird feeling.
So you remember that?
I used to just grab, with a over-under grip with no straps, 765 for 15 reps in the shrugs. I would just do stupid stuff just to do it.
Yeah, it's just can I do it type shit.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that? Because I can.
Yeah,
that's
because
it.
I can.
That's it. So do you remember the movie Back to the Future? Remember that DeLorean, that time machine, right?
Yeah.
So we got the Legends of Iron DeLorean. So you get in that thing and you can program any date, any time. You can go back in your life and the current version of you can give a younger version of you, whether it be 2 minutes younger or 2 decades younger, one piece of advice. How far back do you go and what do you tell yourself?
It would have been right before I blew out my knee, and I would have said, "Take your time setting up."
There we go.
You know what? I was all set to squat 1,000 and to bench 600 at that meet and deadlift 9, and I never got the chance to take my 600 bench.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, God knows you would have got it. You got everything else you tried for.
Yeah, you just got to train for it.
That's it.
It's that easy. You don't get
That's
anything
it.
because you don't deserve it.
Yeah, that's the truth. Isn't that
It's
the
true.
truth? Well, brother, there's no question that I keep going back to this, but it's undisputable. You're the best lifter ever walked the planet. What legacy do you want to leave behind? That's already done. What else do you want to leave behind?
Well, I'm happy with the way I lifted. I'm very happy with the execution of the lifts. They're beyond reproach. But I would just like to be known as, well, besides being really good at what I did, just that he was a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got that one
And
covered
you-
too, brother. You got that one covered too.
We're all just nice guys, or else we wouldn't be on here talking.
That's
We
true.
wouldn't laugh at our own stupidity.
I mean, me personally, brother, I can remember the first day we met, and that was my first ever pro strongman contest, and I was fucking scared, I'll be honest. And I remember when we met, you shook my hand, and you were so nice. It was like that. It was that right there meant a lot, and it really helped me in that day's performance. I got to tell you, settled me
Yeah, I
down.
remember like Phil Pfister was there.
Yeah.
Magnus Samuelson.
Yeah, oh yeah, Jesus
Like, holy
Christ.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was shitting in my pants, for sure.
Well, I can imagine just all of a sudden just being thrown in the pit with monsters.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think it was like my third ever contest too. So I was just like,
And you're
holy
still
shit.
here.
But that day, I remember how kind you were, and it meant a lot to me, brother. I'm sure I can only imagine how many people like myself you had such a phenomenal effect on it. It's such a
Thanks.
that's a
Well,
beautiful
you know
thing,
what?
brother.
It's easy to be nice to nice people.
Yeah, very true, very true. Well, before we wrap this baby up, I know, Ak, you got to be just ready to eat your feet. You're so hungry. Before we wrap this baby up, Nick and Ak, do you have anything else ready before we wrap it up?
No, it's just it's a pleasure being on here with you, and good luck with the business and continued success.
Thanks. I'll be watching you on video.
I appreciate it.
And Nick, Big James sent me your number, so I'm going to be bugging the shit out of you.
Oh, you can call me anytime you want, all the time if you want. I mean,
And John, just continue being the crazy fucking great guy you are.
Oh, that's it. Well, I appreciate it. To have somebody like you endorse me being a little fucking nutty just makes it that much easier.
Well, your nutty is my normal, so don't worry about it.
I love it. Well, brother, thank you so much for being on the show, and I
Thank you,
guarantee
guys. This is awesome.
we'll have
Right
you
on,
come.
right.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you on again, brother. I mean, like I said, there's so much to talk to you about, but we try to take it in reasonable bites. So this is one of many with you, brother. We appreciate you coming on. There you have it, everyone. There's another edition of Legends of Iron, and I'll tell you, if this man right here, the best lifter on planet, does not help you find a way to motivate yourself to be the best version of you, I don't know who the fuck will. So that being said, listen, enjoy. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. There's another edition of Legends of Iron. We will see you next time.
Later.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by Musclemans, the creator of Nitro Tests. Nitro Test is hands down the most fucking kick-ass pre-workout on the market. If you fucking want some, come fucking get some. Can you handle it?